There's so much that's been written and said about leadership and what's most important about leadership. And people will argue it's about leading the future, it's about trust, it's about integrity, it's about being the best people manager you can possibly be. And all of those are really important. It's just that they're not the heart of where you need to start with leadership, because the most important part of leadership, if you are going to be a strong leader and if you're going to be a great leader of people and of a business, the place you always have to start is you got to lead yourself. And people don't think about that. People will leave themselves on the sidelines as they look at how can I impact the business and what does my team need from me. And they don't do a good job of leading themselves. And therefore, they leave themselves open to burnout, to making poor decisions, to being rash and reactive in the moment with people and damaging relationships. There's all number of things that can really go south if you're not starting your leadership with leading yourself. So what does that even mean? What does leading yourself mean? Well, let's get you started with the top 3 areas that you want to consider right away. First, if you're going to really lead yourself well, the very first place you need to start is your goals. You know, there are so many goals that are thrust upon you at work and by other people, people wanting this, people wanting that. But how are you doing on getting specific about your goals, about getting clear on what they are, getting them clear in your mind, getting them clear out on paper? Because when you get something out of your mind and you actually see it, and maybe you type it up on your computer, but I'd advise that you print it out and you actually see it in black and white. It can take on a whole life of its own, and you can get so much more clarity about what you really want in life. And it's so important to take stock of where am I in life? When was the last time I got really serious about goals? And how am I doing on those goals, whenever that was? But taking stock, even if you don't even remember what your past goals were, where are you right now? What are you satisfied with? What are you dissatisfied with? What do you really want? And you're going to map out in the areas of your life that really matter to you, areas like your relationships, your family, your health, your career, your business, your finances, trips, travel. And you're going to look at various areas of your life. There's many areas you can look at, but make sure that you're looking at the big 4. You are looking at your relationships, including your family, including close friends, close relationships. You're looking at your health. You're looking at your career, your business, and you're looking at your finances. And what are your goals in those areas and in other areas as well? Really look at where am I in those areas? How do I feel about it? What do I like? What do I not like? What do I want to keep? What do I want to do differently? Get clear on what it is you really want. Because if you're not clear on what you really want, you're probably not going to get there. Getting there and achieving your goals, the very first step is getting really clear on what those things actually are. Second, great leadership starts with leading yourself, and a huge part of leading yourself is establishing a growth path for yourself, along with a growth mindset. You know, goals without action are just dreams and wishes and hopes that are unlikely to be fulfilled. So there's got to be a path that you identify. So if I look at my goals, if I get clear on my goals, what are those goals that I want to achieve, then I've got to map out, okay, so what are the things that I need to do? And I just do a simple brainstorm. What are the things I need to do? What are the actions I need to take to make progress toward those goals? And then you're going to put a plan together around when are you going to do those actions, and you're going to schedule those actions. You're going to create as much regularity as you can. But it's not just about the actions. When you think of a growth path, it has to come with a growth mindset, because going a path without the mindset to go with it is a surefire recipe for ditching the path at some point. So what a growth mindset, and so much has been written. Carol Dweck from Stanford has written such a fabulous book on, well, called Mindset, and it's all about that growth mindset as opposed to that fixed mindset. And the idea that I would encourage you to think about is, I want you to be growth. I want you to be a person of growth, and to see life, to see your life as one big growth opportunity, one long growth opportunity of making progress and progress and progress, and actively looking for how can I include growth and learning and progress in my life. So I'm not just going to work, doing the work, coming home, dinner with the family or with friends, wrapping things up and paying a bill or two and going to bed. It's not just in the doing, it's planning extra actions to grow, and it's backing them up with a mindset that says, I was made to grow, and making that a way of life for yourself. When you make it a way of being and a way of thinking, you're much more likely to make it a way of doing, therefore making it a lot more likely that you're going to reach your goals and setting an example for other people, for your team, for your family, for the people around you, that it's about growth. And you then, as their leader, say at work, it's going to be much easier to lead them to grow when they see that you are leading yourself to grow. Third, a key part of leadership, really starting with self-leadership and leading yourself, very key part of that is how you handle your emotions and your thoughts. So the question you got to ask yourself is, how reactive am I when I have a negative thought that comes in, or when I have an emotion that feels reactive, that feels negative in some way? What am I doing with that? Your thoughts and your emotions, they're really powerful. They impact your behavior. They impact how you show up. They impact how you interact with other people. They impact how you do your work. And so really your outcomes, your relationship outcomes, your success in terms of work and business outcomes, they really come down to your thoughts and your emotions, because from those spring so much in your life. So you got to ask yourself, where do my thoughts and emotions coming from? Are they coming from reactivity? Because if they are coming from reactivity, you want to look at that. Are they coming from proactivity, which is the direction you want to go? So it's so important to, rather than being reactive, something happens and I immediately get angry or I immediately get frustrated. That is going to impact my next actions, and it's certainly going to impact my next conversation that I have with a direct report or with my boss, and tend to not have a great outcome. And so you want to switch your thoughts and emotions from reactive to proactive, and rather than just being controlled and being whipped around by things that happen, which may be to your dissatisfaction, you want to take the bull by the horns and be much more proactive about your thoughts and your emotions. You want to have a plan to foster the kind of thoughts and emotions that you want to have, to not just be at the mercy of whatever comes your way. You want to actively cultivate what it is you want to think and what it is you want to feel. And then when you do get triggered, so here you are going about your day, you've been fostering the thoughts you want to have, you've been cultivating the emotions you want to have, it's all going well, and then boom, something happens and you get triggered. It's very easy to get pulled into reactive mode and get overly stressed, overly angry, overly frustrated, which isn't going to lead anywhere very good with your work, your decisions, your conversations. And so rather, you want to have a plan, to have tools to switch tracks, get onto a different track when you get triggered. Rather than being reactive, you're going to go back into proactive mode, whether your tools have to do with breathing. And breathing, there's so much written on how breathing can actually change your brain chemistry, the right kind of breathing, whether it's taking a walk around the block, whether it's doing a quick meditation, whether it's creating an anchor for yourself and using that. You want to have a plan in place so that not only are you proactive from the start in fostering the thoughts and emotions you want to have, but you're ready with a reset plan when you get triggered. So don't fall into the trap that so many people fall into, which is, oh, I'm the leader. I got to get in there and do some business planning, and then I got to delegate to the team, and then I got to go to this meeting, and you just get yanked around by all the things outside of you, and you wind up not performing at your best because you didn't start with the most important place to start with leadership, which is leading yourself. So to lead yourself, look at your goals, dust those off, update those goals, get really clear on what is it that you want, and then put a growth path in place for yourself and be sure that it is backed up with a growth mindset. So you're making growth really a part of who you are. That's not just what you do, it's who you are. Imagine how much easier it is to lead your team and give your team feedback when you're leading yourself and giving yourself feedback. And then you're going to take a look at your thoughts and emotions and see, am I predominantly yanked around by circumstances? Are my thoughts and emotions based on what happens out there, or just these arbitrary thoughts and feelings that come to mind that actually aren't so great? Or am I proactively fostering the things that I want to think and the feelings I want to have, which is going to help me to perform better and lead better? And then as part of that, have a plan for when things are tough and you get triggered, to be more proactive with your thoughts and emotions than reactive. And you do all that, you are well on your way to being a great leader for yourself, which is the foundation of being a great leader of other people.